They are not conservatives. They voted against, one, the greatest cut in history that Congress has ever voted for, $2 trillion. They voted against work requirements. They voted against NEPA reform. They voted against border security. They voted against... They don't get to say they're conservative because they're angry and they're chaotic. That's not the party I belong to. The party of Reagan was if you believed in your principles that you could govern in a conservative way. They are not conservatives, and they do not have the right to have the title.
That was former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, lashing out at the far-right Republicans who snatched away his entire reason for living. And if Kevin McCarthy really believes there's anything left of the party of Ronald Reagan, well, maybe the Freedom Caucus did him a favor by kicking him out. It's been 2 days since Republicans unceremoniously dumped Kevin McCarthy in the Potomac River. And if anything, there's even more chaos now than there was before. That's because the race is on to replace McCarthy, and the Freedom Caucus realizes they have all the power. That hasn't stopped a breakaway group of, I don't even know what you'd call them anymore. Let's just say Republicans who really hate Matt Gaetz. And those furious Republicans want Gaetz thrown out of the party for sowing chaos. Here's former Speaker Newt Gingrich weighing in on the Fox News.
96% of the Republicans voted for McCarthy. 4% voted against him. From my position as a longtime Republican activist, they're traitors. All 8 of them should in fact be primaried. They should all be driven out of public life. What they did was to go to the other team to cause total chaos. We ought to be focusing on Biden. We ought to be focusing on the economy. We ought to be focusing on the border. Instead, you're going to get a week or 10 days of the media focusing on Republican disarray.
You heard it from the Republicans, folks. The Republican Party is in total chaos, and it's all thanks to the unparalleled destructive power of the MAGA movement. But that's big talk from a party that couldn't even protect their own speaker, and Matt Gaetz seems to be feeling his strength more than ever.
I'm afraid of $33 trillion in debt crushing the working people in my district. I'm afraid of the dollar losing its status as the global reserve currency. If they want to expel me, let me know when they have the vote.
Gaetz has been on a media blitz since ousting McCarthy from his job, where even he found the time to stop by federal criminal Steve Bannon's podcast to show off his alliance with increasingly far-right Congresswoman Nancy Mace. It was, well, it was something, all right.
Let's talk about this for a moment. Okay, Nancy is not a hard right, intransigent lawmaker. Nancy is a fiscal hawk. She's been a fiscal hawk the whole time. And to get her to vote for the Limit, Save, Grow bill, it was an open secret in this town that Kevin had to agree to bring her bill up for a balanced budget amendment. And
was that the deal?
Yeah, I mean, balance. Well, he promised the deal to Matt Gaetz, and then he promised it to me. He made
just
the same
for
promise
to
to two
remember,
different people.
that was the first deal that we were not happy with.
Now, to be clear, Nancy Mace is absolutely a hardline Republican, but you wouldn't know that from the glowing coverage the corporate media has given her. But Mace was right there on the front lines of the GOP's anti-woke movement, while trying her best to hide Republicans' anti-abortion extremism behind softer words. Meanwhile, Republicans outside the Freedom Caucus are in absolute freefall. You might remember Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She served as Kevin McCarthy's most loyal deputy during his short and depressing speakership. Well, now Greene has another candidate in mind for the job. You might have heard of him.
Now that we have an opportunity to elect a new speaker, I'm going to force Washington to realize and remember that the American people support President Trump. He is winning the primary overwhelmingly. No one's even close to him. He's also beating Joe Biden in poll after poll, and he has a proven 4-year record as president of having the greatest policies in my lifetime. We want him back as president, so why not make him Speaker of the House, even if it's an interim speaker, while we work to find another speaker?
Yeah, Trump would have had an 8-year term, but you know, he got stomped by Joe Biden in 2020 and then attacked the Capitol over it. And Greene is just one of several Republicans pledging to cast first-round votes for Trump, meaning the odds of any Republican winning on the first ballot are basically zero. Oh yeah, and in case you forgot, the government shuts down again in just over a month, when Kevin McCarthy's short-term spending bill expires. So Republicans will need to navigate finding a new speaker and pleasing the crazies before the lights go out in the House next month. There's no denying that Republicans are now in total disarray, and those divisions are set to get even worse as candidates fight it out for the speakership. If Donald Trump has some free time between all his criminal trials, don't be surprised if he makes a special visit to the chamber to campaign. pain. And if you think that was wild, check out this video.
So much food and water stored down there to feed the whole United States for about 10 years.
And as always, leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.